Ever wondered what the silliest excuse a caught thief could possibly come up with? Prepare yourselves, because this one genuinely left me speechless, and I've seen some things. I'm Cameron, 35, and yeah, I'm one of those guys in law enforcement. Specifically, I'm part of a specialized tactical unit. We're usually dealing with situations a bit more intense than shoplifting, but sometimes duty calls in unexpected ways. Like for instance, in the Lego aisle of a big box store. One particular day, I was assigned to this store, just doing my routine rounds, when I decided to snag a gift for my nephew. There I was, lost in the glorious world of plastic bricks, debating the merits of a new Star Wars set versus a classic city build, when a young woman approached me. "Excuse me," she said, "do you work here?" I blinked. I was in full uniform, duty belt, vest, the works. My gear wasn't exactly subtle. "Ma'am," I replied, probably with a slight raise of an eyebrow, "I'm actually part of the law enforcement unit assigned to the store today." She mumbled a quick apology, a flash of something unreadable in her eyes, then thanked me and hurried down the aisle. I figured, fair enough, maybe she was just flustered. I went back to my Lego-induced reverie, but something about her departure felt off. It was a subtle prickle, the kind of gut feeling you learn to trust in my line of work. My tactical brain, unfortunately, isn't easily switched off. So I decided to take a little stroll, casually following her general direction. I rounded a corner into the electronics section, and that's when my off feeling solidified into full-blown suspicion. There she was, hunched over a locked display case filled with high-end video games. A small, glinting tool was in her hand, deftly working its way into the lock. My heart started to thrum a little faster. This wasn't just a hunch anymore, it was an active crime in progress. I watched unseen as the lock clicked open with an almost imperceptible pop. She didn't hesitate, sweeping an entire armload of those expensive $100-a-pop games into a bag she'd seemingly pulled from nowhere. She zipped up the bag and started heading for the front of the store, practically power walking. My blood started to hum. It was showtime. I trailed her, keeping a professional distance, observing her every move. She bypassed the registers completely, a look of grim determination on her face. As she strode through the security scanners, the shrill, unmistakable wail of the alarm ripped through the store. She didn't even flinch, just poured on the speed, bolting for the exit doors, clearly heading for her getaway car. That's when I moved. A quick practice sprint, and I was right behind her, my hand firmly on her arm. "Police, you're detained," I announced, my voice clear and authoritative, cutting through the blaring alarm. She stopped dead, her face a mask of shock and sudden realization. I smoothly read her rights, the words coming out automatically as the store manager and the theft prevention officer, alerted by the alarm and my radio call, came hurrying over. We radioed for a patrol car to transport her, and while the store staff handled the video footage and paperwork, I kept her secured. Then came the moment for questioning. I braced myself for the usual excuses. "I forgot. I was going to pay. It was a mistake." But what she said next absolutely floored me. She looked at me, completely bewildered, and said, "I thought you couldn't arrest me while you were shopping." I just stared. I honestly couldn't wrap my head around it. My brain did a full system reboot trying to process that logic. I was in uniform. I was on duty. I was actively working. I just happened to be browsing for Legos at the time. Did she think there was some kind of shopping clause in the law enforcement rulebook? Like, officer's personal errand takes precedence over catching criminals. I mean, I get that the nuances of law enforcement aren't always clear to the public, but this was a whole new level of entitled delusion. You can't just pause the law because an officer is contemplating which Star Wars Lego set is best for his nephew. So yeah, that's the story. Apparently, some people think a cop's badge has an off-duty for retail therapy button. You really do hear it all, don't you?
Hey, real quick before the next one, if you're enjoying this, subscribing helps a lot. All right, story number 3 coming up.
You know those days where you think you've officially escaped the clutches of retail, only for a rogue name tag to pull you right back into the eye of a full-blown Karen storm? Yeah, that was my Tuesday. And let me tell you, it involved a children's book. Hey, Reddit, it's Dawn, and after years of battling entitled customers, I finally traded in my sales associate badge for a trainer's headset. I now help new hires navigate the wondrous, confusing world of cell phone features. But as the old saying goes, you can take the girl out of retail, but you can't quite take the retail out of the girl. Sometimes that means forgetting to peel off your old work name tag. So picture this. It's late evening, I'm absolutely beat from a day of explaining data plans, and all I want is some frozen pizza, dog food for my hungry pup, and a few snacks to numb my brain. I'm meandering through the local grocery store, basket slowly filling, still sporting the shiny silver name tag from my past life, almost like a tiny, dangerous beacon. I usually remember to take it off, but today I was just done. I was reaching for a bag of frozen peas, because balance, right? When I felt a sharp tap on my shoulder. I turned, already bracing myself, to see a woman in her late 40s or early 50s. She was dressed in that specific, trying too hard to look young ensemble, complete with a brightly patterned scarf and a scowl that could curdle milk. Her eyes immediately fixated on my name tag, then narrowed on me. Let's call her Karen, naturally. Excuse me, she huffed, her voice dripping with impatience. Where do you keep the artisan sourdough? I've been looking for ages. I blinked, momentarily thrown off. Oh, I'm sorry, I said, offering a polite, practiced smile. I don't actually work here. I just forgot to take my name tag off after work. I even gestured to the offending piece of plastic. Karen didn't even glance at my hand. Her scowl deepened. Don't be ridiculous. Of course you work here. You're wearing a name tag, aren't you? Now, are you going to help me find the sourdough? Or do I need to speak to your manager about your unhelpful attitude? Her hands went to her hips, practically daring me. Okay, deep breaths, Dawn. Retail training had taught me patience, but years of enduring this kind of entitlement had also given me a very particular brand of dry wit. And today, the well of patience was dry. My eyes scanned my basket. Luckily, I'd impulse bought a children's picture book about polite manners earlier, a prop for a particularly difficult training session on customer communication. Of all things, a mischievous glint sparked in my eye. You know what, Karen? I said, pulling the colorful book from my basket and holding it out to her, a serene smile plastered on my face. When I was a kid, I always figured if someone couldn't tell the difference between a customer just trying to buy frozen peas and an actual employee, they probably just needed a little help with their reading comprehension. This one's called Please and Thank You, Bear. I think it might be just what you need. The silence that followed was golden. Karen stared at the book, then at me, her mouth agape. Her face slowly turned a blotchy shade of red, a vein throbbing in her forehead. Are you mocking me? She shrieked, her voice suddenly echoing through the frozen food aisle. You absolute insolent cow. You're refusing to help a customer, and now you're insulting me. Just then, a genuine grocery store employee, a young guy named Mark, rounded the corner. He took in the scene, me, calm as a cucumber, holding out a children's book, and Karen, vibrating with rage. His eyes went from me to my name tag, then back to Karen. Is everything okay here, Dawn? He asked, trying to suppress a grin. He clearly recognized the name tag from our old company. Oh, Mark, perfect timing, I replied, my smile unwavering. This lovely lady seems to think I work here, despite my best efforts to explain otherwise. I was just trying to offer her some reading material. Mark, bless his heart, actually snorted. That was Karen's breaking point. You're both useless. I demand to see your manager immediately. This is outrageous. I've never been so disrespected in my life. She started practically vibrating with indignation, pointing a furious finger at both of us. Like a beacon to a distress signal, the store manager, a harried-looking woman named Brenda, appeared. She saw the commotion and immediately zeroed in on the source. What seems to be the problem here, ma'am? She asked, her voice calm but firm. Karen launched into an incoherent tirade about rude, incompetent staff, disrespectful behavior, and that ridiculous book. Brenda held up a hand to calm her down, then turned to me with a questioning look. I kept my explanation brief and factual, omitting the snarky book comment but holding up my name tag as evidence. I just forgot to take this off, ma'am. I told her I didn't work here, and she wouldn't believe me. Karen, however, wasn't done. While Brenda tried to placate her, Karen continued to yell, accusing us of conspiring against her, of poor customer service and making a general scene. She started threatening to call corporate, social media, and anyone else who would listen. Brenda's expression hardened. Ma'am, you need to calm down. You're disturbing other customers. When Karen only escalated, screaming about her rights and how the customer is always right, Brenda finally pulled out her phone. I'm calling security. You need to leave. The sight of the store's rather large security guard walking towards her did nothing to diffuse Karen. She screamed even louder as he gently but firmly escorted her out, still bellowing about injustice and how she'd never shop there again. I paid for my peas and dog food, leaving with a genuine smile this time. As I walked out into the cool evening air, I saw 2 police cruisers pulling into the parking lot, lights flashing. I chuckled, shaking my head. Some people just never learn. So, yeah, never underestimate the power of a children's book to really bring out the inner beast in an entitled person. Thanks for letting me vent, Redditors. What's the wildest you work here? Story you've got? TLDR. Forgot to take off my old name tag. Got mistaken for a grocery employee by a Karen offered her a children's book on manners. She lost her mind, employee laughed, manager called security, and the cops showed up. Best retail adjacent moment ever.
You ever just try to be a decent human being, lend a hand, and end up in a full-blown grocery store drama that feels like it's pulled straight from a sitcom? Yeah, me too. And let me tell you, this one's for the books. I'm Kai and I was just trying to enjoy my lunch break. I'd popped into Aldi, snagged a sandwich, and was munching away, minding my own business in a somewhat quieter aisle. I was still in my office clothes, a polo shirt and khakis, nothing that screamed Aldi employee. But I guess if you squinted and really wanted someone to work there, maybe. Anyway, that's when an elderly lady, probably in her late 70s, shuffled over to me. She looked a bit flustered, her eyes scanning the top shelves. "Excuse me, young man," she said, pointing a gnarled finger towards a box of crackers on the very highest shelf. "Could you fetch that for me? It's just out of my reach." Now, I'm not a superhero, but I'm also not exactly short. I stand a solid 6 feet tall, and I'm pretty athletic, so I figured, sure, why not? Easy enough, I walked over, stood on my tiptoes, stretched my arm as far as it would go, practically feeling my shoulder pop. Nope, just a hair's breadth out of reach. It was one of those awkwardly high shelves, you know. I turned back to her, genuinely apologetic. "I'm so sorry, ma'am, I just can't quite get it. It's a bit too high even for me." I gestured vaguely. "Maybe an employee with a step stool could help you." That's when her expression shifted, the flustered look evaporated, replaced by a thin, impatient frown. "Oh, I'm sure you can," she insisted, crossing her arms. "You just need to try harder. I saw you reach for it, you just gave up." My eyebrows practically shot off my head. "No, really," I tried again, feeling a blush creep up my neck as a couple of shoppers started to glance our way. "I've tried, it's just out of reach." "I don't actually work here, so I don't have a," I trailed off, realizing how pointless it was to explain. "Nonsense," she snapped, her voice gaining volume. "You're just being rude and lazy. I asked for help and you're refusing. What kind of service is this? I pay good money to shop here." Okay, this was a rapid escalation. My sandwich, now forgotten, sat cooling in my basket. I felt a prickle of annoyance, but I tried to stay calm. "Ma'am, I understand you need help, but I'm not an employee. I'm on my lunch break." "I can't help you get that box." She took a step closer, jabbing her finger at me. "You are, I know you are. You're probably just on your phone all day, ignoring customers. This is absolutely disgusting customer service. I'll report you." By now, she was practically shouting, drawing a small crowd. My quiet lunch break had officially devolved into a public spectacle. I couldn't just walk away and leave her screaming at nothing. It felt like I was somehow trapped in this absurd situation. So I scanned the aisle frantically and spotted a young guy in an Aldi uniform restocking shelves a little further down. "Excuse me," I called out to him, raising my hand. "Could you please come over and help this lady?" The employee, bless his soul, seemed to recognize the universal distress signal of customer gone rogue and quickly made his way over. but before he could even open his mouth, the lady pivoted, her fury now directed at him. "And you," she shrieked, pointing at the poor employee. "This young man," she gestured wildly at me, "has been absolutely dreadful. He was playing on his phone, then when I asked for help, he cursed at me and refused. Said he didn't care about my needs." My jaw dropped, cursed at her. I hadn't said anything more offensive than "I'm sorry, ma'am." The employee looked confused, then at me, then back at the lady. Before he could respond, a manager, a tall woman with a clipboard, emerged, having clearly heard the ruckus. "What seems to be the problem here?" she asked, her voice firm but even. The lady launched into her tirade again, embellishing the story even further, accusing me of outright hostility and neglect. The manager listened patiently, her eyes occasionally flicking to me, who was just standing there, wide-eyed and silently shaking my head. When the lady finally paused for breath, the manager looked directly at her. "Ma'am," she said, her voice dropping a notch, "this gentleman doesn't work for Aldi. He's a customer just like you." "You'd think that would be the end of it, right?" "Wrong." The lady's face went purple. "He's lying, you're all conspiring against me. This is discrimination. I want that box and I want you all fired." The manager's patience visibly thinned. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to calm down. This is completely unacceptable behavior." When the lady only escalated her shouting, the manager sighed, pulled out her phone and made a quick call. "Security, front of aisle 3, please." Then she turned back to the screaming woman. "Ma'am, due to your abusive language and harassment of customers and staff, you are no longer welcome in this store. Security will escort you out." The lady's screaming reached a new crescendo. She called the manager every name under the sun, threatened lawsuits, and declared she was boycotting Aldi forever, but it was no use. A couple of security guards arrived, looking utterly unfazed, and politely but firmly ushered her towards the exit, her protests echoing through the store until they faded. As the commotion died down, the manager gave me an apologetic look. "I'm so sorry you had to deal with that, sir. We get all sorts." The Aldi employee just offered a weary smile and a shrug. I couldn't help but chuckle as I finally walked back to my forgotten sandwich. Part of me was still reeling from the sheer absurdity of it all, but another part found it incredibly amusing. People can be entitled, sure, but this lady had taken it to a whole new theatrical level. I spent the rest of my break replaying the scene in my head. Was it my polo shirt that confused her? Was she just having an incredibly bad day and chose me as her personal stress ball? Who knows? Either way, it was a wild ride. Sometimes, all you can do is laugh, shake your head, and remember that there's always something strange and unexpected waiting to spice up a mundane Tuesday lunch break. So there you have it, fellow Redditors. A tale of a simple good deed, a misunderstanding, and a whole lot of drama. Stay safe out there, and remember to always carry a metaphorical megaphone for when you need to declare, "I don't work here."
Don't miss this next video, it's a good follow-up.